Hi, you're here with Zoe Arthurs from Business Basics. We're going to have a quick look at what inflation is. We're not going to spend too long looking at it in this tutorial, so it's just going to be a really quick introduction, but hopefully it should give you an idea of what inflation is and how it impacts us. So inflation is basically defined as the sustained increase in the general price of goods and services, and it's basically done on a basket of goods. So they would identify from a particular selection of goods or services, and they would have a look and see what the percentage increase in price has been, and that's then used to set the inflation rate. So it's measured on an annual percentage increase, and as inflation rises, every pound you own buys a smaller percentage of goods or services, obviously because they're priced at slightly higher rate. So the value of your pound does not stay constant, and the value of the pound is observed in terms of purchasing power, so which is the real tangible goods that money can buy. So it's the things that you can actually touch. So when inflation goes up, there's always going to be a decline in the amount of money that you have, because your pound is therefore worth less. It can get you less items, and therefore your purchasing power decreases. So just as an example, if the inflation rate is set at, say, 2% annually, so it's going to increase 2%, the basket of goods is worth 2%, or it's going to cost you 2% more, then theoretically a £1 pack of chewing gum will cost you £1.02 in a year because it's had that 2% increase. So then obviously wages don't increase at that rate, so therefore you're not going to have as much money as you previously did. You're having to pay 2p more on a pack of gum, but when you identify all the different items in the basket that this is actually priced on, you will see that actually it does accumulate to quite a large amount, which is why the government will always try and maintain the inflation rate or try and control it, so that actually it doesn't impact industry with orders of goods or services. So there are a couple of variations of inflation. There's something known as deflation, and this is when the general level of prices is falling. So this is the opposite to inflation. Now, deflation doesn't happen a huge amount, and probably the best example I can give you of deflation is where the fuel price fluctuates. So sometimes it will go up, it will inflate, and sometimes it will decrease. Very rarely, I know, but that can be seen as deflation. And then you have something called hyperinflation, or it's sometimes known as rapid inflation. So this is really in extreme cases, and this can lead to the breakdown of a nation's monetary system. So actually the government will try and control it, and make sure that actually inflation is at a sustained rate, so that actually hyperinflation doesn't happen. But if you want to have a look at some further reading on hyperinflation, where it just basically went boom and everything was far too expensive and people couldn't buy anything. One of the most noticeable or notable examples of hyperinflation occurred in Germany in 1923, when prices rose by 2,500% in just 1 month. So if you can imagine that your price of goods, you go to Tesco's, you buy your basket of goods, your groceries, but can you imagine if that increased in price by not just 2% in a year, but actually 2,500% in a month? It actually means that things are then you can't buy them, so actually the economy stops pretty much. And then you have stagflation, and this is the combination of high unemployment, and economic stagnation with inflation. So this basically happened in industrialized countries during the 1970s, when a bad economy was combined with OPEC raising oil prices. Now, OPEC is the organization of the petroleum exporting countries, and they unify the policies worldwide relative to the production of oil, which stabilizes global markets. So a huge amount of whether the economy is going to inflate through inflation or deflate within deflation is governed by actually oil prices and what's happening around the world. And they can be impacted by things such as natural disasters. So if, for example, we got a huge amount of our oil from Iraq, and then we had the Iraq war, obviously that oil isn't so readily available. Therefore, actually, we may see that actually our demand for the product it remains the same, but the supply for the product, they can't actually meet it from that particular point. So therefore they need to look at other realms or other areas that we can perhaps get oil, which would then mean that we would need to increase the price of oil. So the supply would decrease, therefore that would force the price of oil up. And quite often that's one thing that is actually measuring inflation. So just consider when you are measuring inflation in terms of your basket of goods and how much it's going to increase throughout the year, actually it is actually linked to oil prices. So it's always worth in business, when you are setting prices and you're trying to identify what your price point is going to be, that you just have a look around and you see what the price of oil is doing. And you can do that via having a look at like the BBC stock index and things like that, and having a look at how oil is performing under the business section. Because actually, if there's an increase in demand but a decrease in supply, obviously that's going to push the price up of oil, which will then help push the inflation rate up. So we always try, and that's why we have OPEC, to maintain those relationships, particularly with the Middle East, where we get a lot of our oil from, so that actually inflation doesn't impact our economy as it did in Germany in 1923. So there are a couple of causes of inflation, and as I say, it's quite a complex factor just to discuss. So I'm just going to really briefly introduce it to you, and then we can go into it in further detail in subsequent videos. But there's two reasons. One is demand pull inflation, and the other is cost push inflation. Now, demand pull is where too much money is chasing too few goods. So in other words, if demand is growing faster than supply, prices will increase. So if we look at oil again, if there isn't enough oil to supply us, more people are going to demand it because perhaps they can't get petrol in their cars. And we've seen that when petrol stations, and we've had blockades at the fuel producers, that actually that forced the price up. Now that would have had a knock-on effect on inflation during that year, because the price of fuel would have increased massively. The other one we can have a look at is cost push inflation. And this is where your company's costs go up so that they have to increase prices to maintain their profit margins. So this is where the raw material price will fluctuate, but you will have to pass on those cost increases to your customers. And increased costs can then lead to things such as wages, taxes, and it can also impact your shipping. So as a government, their fiscal and monetary policies, which we'll talk about in another tutorial, will try and maintain the inflation rate and try and identify where the demand pull inflation is going to come from and where cost push inflation will come into play to try and counteract it before it impacts the economy as a whole. Now, in terms of costs of inflation, obviously we know that if the price of goods does increase, then it becomes more expensive. But most people do think inflation is evil, it's a bad thing. However, this isn't always necessarily the case, and it's really important to recognise that. Quite often you'll hear people go, well, the price of bread's gone up by 2p, this is a travesty. But actually it's not, because it does affect different people in different ways. And it also depends on whether inflation is anticipated or unanticipated. Now, in 1923, when it rose by 2,500% in Germany, obviously that was unanticipated, and that's where we had huge problems. So people didn't realise that it was going to rise that much. It was unsustainable inflation, and actually it had a knock-on effect. But problems arise when creditors don't know it's going to happen, so they lose and debtors gain. Okay, so if you're a creditor, you will lose if you have high amounts of inflation, but debtors will actually gain, because if the lender does not anticipate inflation correctly, for those who borrow, it's similar to getting an interest-free loan. So it can be good on that hand, but on the other hand, actually it can be very, very bad. But inflation also leads to high levels of uncertainty, because actually people worry that actually that rate of inflation is going to continue, and they start to make contingency planning in terms of their personal and business finances. So in terms of if they continue to increase the rate of inflation and it increases beyond a rate which is deemed reasonably acceptable, then actually that can slow down the economy, and it hurts the economic output in the long run, because if things become more expensive, they have less money to purchase new items. Therefore, manufacturing will slow down, and then that will have an impact on people's jobs. That will impact unemployment rates, and that will have a really negative impact on the economy and can actually lead to an economic downturn if it's not managed correctly. And inflation will also impact people living off a fixed income, such as retirees, because they will see a decline in their purchasing power. So if, for example, they're budgeting for £500 a month, as an example, and inflation continues to increase, actually they're going to find themselves having to pay more on things like their bag of goods, their groceries, and that will also mean that their standard of living may have to decrease because they may have to start making cuts themselves. So again, if they're making cuts, that's also going to have a knock-on effect on the economy. But it's also important to realise that the entire economy must absorb repricing costs, so menu costs, as price lists, labels and menus and more have to be updated. So every time there is an inflation rate, prices have to be readjusted, contracts have to be renegotiated, and actually that can have a huge knock-on effect onto the smaller charges perhaps that businesses then have to absorb of re-evaluating, repricing everything, and the time and opportunity costs attached to that. So people like to complain about prices going up, but often they ignore the fact that wages should be rising as well. Now, we know that's not always the case, particularly in the public sector. But the question shouldn't really be whether inflation is rising, but whether it is rising at a quicker pace than your wages. And that's something that you may just need to keep an eye on, because if your wages and inflation is increasing at the same rate, obviously you're remaining at the same sort of standard of living rate or level. But actually, if your wages aren't increasing as much as they are inflation, then the likelihood is you're going to be out of pocket slightly, and then that can also have a dangerous impact on the economy. So that was a really crude example of a very basic introduction to inflation, but hopefully you've got to grips with a couple of the terminology in there, and if you need to go back, please feel free to pause the video, have a look at the terminology on these slides, but I hope to see you in my next one. So see you soon. Bye.